Hey everyone, welcome back to my shop. It's me, Rob. I am here on a Sunday afternoon because a client of mine dropped off these cabinets right here. And the reason they did that is because for one, they want me to paint these, but they want me to build them a bunch of new cabinets and they want me to match the door style that is here on these old cabinets. Now, the old style doors are just a shaker door style with a 45-degree groove all the way around. So it's a pretty common door style. I personally have never done one because no one has ever asked me to do one. But now that they have asked me, I have to get it set up inside of Cabinet Vision to run these doors. And so that's kind of the point of this video is I'm going to take you with me on this journey to get this door profile set up in Cabinet Vision, so that way if there's any of you guys out there that are new, you can kind of see what I guess my process of doing things. Definitely not saying it's the right way to do it. It's just kind of how I'm just going to do it kind of how what makes sense to me. And so I'm going to take you along with me on that journey, and I'm going to try to explain everything that I do every step of the way, so that way you can just see how I do things. So what we're going to be using is it's a Vortex V-bit that I have already on hand, and I'm going to throw the numbers of this in case you want to look it up on their website. And basically I'm just going to take the shaker door tool set that I already use, and we're going to throw this in the mix and see if we can't get a similar result. So if that sounds like something you want to see, stick around. If it doesn't, I appreciate you watching it this long, and I'll shut up now and let's get started getting this thing set up. Alright, so now I'm about to throw this V-bit in one of my tool holders, and this is the same process for just about any tool that I throw on here. I have my holder, which this case it's an HSK holder. I've got the nut, and then I've got my 1/2-inch collet, because this tool takes a 1/2-inch collet, and this collet goes right in the nut, just like this. Sometimes it's kind of tough to get it in, but it snaps in and spins. And last but not least, we've got our V-bit, which again, this is the Vortex 7055. It's a single flute, and this guy just slips right inside the collet, and then the nut goes on, and we'll have to go out and tighten it, but we'll get it nice and snug into place just like that. And it's as easy as that. So now we'll go cinch this thing down, and then we'll throw it in the tool setter, and we'll get the measurement of the tool, so that way we can put that in the CNC. So I've got the V-bit inside the collet with the nut hand tight. From here, I take it over to this tool holder. It's just a simple steel tool holder, and we bolted it on the side of our pump cage. And I just really like these simple holders. And so from here, you can get the nut really tight. You don't want it loose, because then it's going to slip. All right, from here, I come to my tool setter, and my tool setter looks just like this. I turn it on, I zero it out, and all right, so I just I just do this a couple times. I go up and down, and then I get my numbers here, and then this is the number that I'm going to throw in the CNC machine. And from here, we're pretty much set on the tool side of it, on the machine side. So now we can jump into Cabinet Vision and start setting up our tooling inside of Cabinet Vision. All right, so now that we've got the tool physically put into the machine, we got to come into Cabinet Vision and start getting it set up in here. So from the main screen, I'm going to come up here to Tool, and here's the tool catalog. So if I drop down, this is a combination of tool sets and individual tools. So I put that tool into tool number 10, and so when I name these, this T1, tool 1, T11, so I just want to make sure that I don't have something that is using slot 10, which I don't think I do, so I think we're good. All right, so let's create a new tool, and I'm going to name this one T10 for tool 10. Let's call this Vortex V-bit. Okay. And this is a under type V-bit router bit. Let's hit OK. You got on the Onsrud nest for the. Okay, hold on. So this, there's a little quirk here. Let's see if we can get it. It's not populating the V. I guess we'll have to come in here and draw it, but it should sometimes. It will populate because it knows that it's in a V bit. Let's try something. Let's delete this a second. So create new T11. Vortex V-bit. Okay, vertical drill. We want a V-bit router. Okay, it's not doing it, so I guess we're going to have to try to go edit this shape. Well, okay, whatever. We'll just go ahead. Okay, so under machine, let's go ahead and... So for me, this is going to be under the Onsrud nest. Because I'm using Onsrud routers for this. And so my tool number, we're going to make it number 10, like I said, and we're going to put the height offset ID the exact same. These have to match. It's very important. All right, so the diameter of this thing is 2 1/4. Minimum working depth. Okay, there we go. So I guess it needed a diameter to drive that. And we can go in and kind of clean it up, make it look more like the bit itself. But minimum working depth, man, I really not 100% sure what this is. I'm just going to put an inch. Cone angle, let's do 90. There we go. So that's all right. So it's auto-populating for us a little bit. So that's good news. So let's do 1/4 inch on the sidewall. Right here, which, if you can see here, that's what that is. All right, we know that we're a 1/2 inch diameter on the shank, so that looks good. Okay, so allow auto select. What this is it if you say yes, it allows Cabinet Vision to sift through all the tools that are in auto select and choose what it deems as the most appropriate tool for any operation. So maybe a little easier way to explain that. Let's say you wanted to put an inch circle in the wood, but you don't have an inch bit. So Cabinet Vision starts looking through that catalog and says, oh, well, you have a 1/2 inch tool inside the auto select pool. I'll just use that 1/2 inch and we'll make it bigger and get to the inch. So that's what the auto select is. We're gonna keep it for clockwise on the movement. Yes, I'm not gonna change any of this. We're gonna do our feed rate for now. Let's do 250, 250 on the descent rate. So these are your feeds and speeds. So I'm just going to set this up and I'll adjust this if I need to. But I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to close this out. And if we go back, let's just make sure we've got T11 inside of our bit. Inside of our tool library. Okay, so now that we've got the individual tool library going on, or it's in the library, I got to take the shaker door set and I've got to incorporate. Basically, this is my plan. I'm going to take this shaker door set and add that V-bit in the mix so it puts the groove. So I don't want to rebuild this from scratch. And if you are new, and I think I have done a video where I actually build this from scratch. So if you want to see that, look through some of my older videos. I set this exact one up. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and copy the selected tool. In fact, let me see here before I do that. I'm just going to see. Okay, so I have this. Let's take a look here. I have one that's shaker bevel. Okay. All right, so I have one that is already set up that does a 45 or 22.5 degree bevel in this. And so I want to look at this a second and see how this is set up. Because what I might do is I might actually just make a copy of this one and do it. And I know for those of you just watching this, you probably have no idea how to set these up. I'll try to make this all make sense. So these sets are just a combination of tools. And so you can see that this T5 is showing twice. I'm basically just using that bit once and then I'm saying, hey, keep the same bit and then do another thing with it. And then this guy's my main hogger right now. So let's actually take a copy of this. So I'm going to copy this shaker bevel. And we're going to put, because that was a 22.5, so we'll put shaker bevel 45 DEG. And just click out just to make sure it loads. Okay, so shaker bevel 45 DEG. Okay, so if we go back into edit shape. So to kind of give a quick recap inside this tool set. This list right here is a higher hierarchical order of tool operations. So whatever's at the top is going to do it first, and then it will go down the line. So right now I have my hogger, and it's been a while since I set this up, so I don't even remember, why. Obviously, this one hogs it out. This one, if we solo this right here, we're going to solo these tools. So these must be like a cleanup pass. For some reason, I must have needed to put these in to clean up the edges. Because a lot of this for me is trial and error. And you can see like my numbers over here. But so if we come down here to this V-bit, I'm wondering if I just delete this out and we'll put the new bit, tool 11, right where those are. So we've got 0 in the offset, depth is 1/4 inch. We'll talk about some of this here in the engrave and the clean left and start in the middle here in a second. So let me just make it so type engrave clean left. I'm just writing this down so that way I don't waste too much time going back and forth. Start in middle. Okay, and then reference, fixed depth. Okay, so let's go ahead. Before actually I delete this, we'll add it. So I hit new tool and it's going to copy the last one that I looked at. So it's giving us that same tool. But what we can do over here is hit this router, hit the drop down, and we'll come down to tool 10. Tool 10, T10. Come on, there's got to be a T. We just put it in. We just put it in. T1, oh shoot, I named this wrong. Ooh, better fix that real quick. Sorry, I got to close out of this. So T11 Vortex. So I named these both T11 on accident. So I'm going to click this. I don't know why I did that, but I got to make sure to make that 10. Well, that could have been bad. So now if I come to my shaker bevel 45 degree, edit shape, T10. Okay, that's what we want, T10. All right, so my depth, let's go a 1/4 inch down. And so this zero plane, this 0 point, or so when I say I'm offsetting in the 0, that's basically, it's dead on the line, like when you do the shaker door, right where the inner part of the panel meets the part that comes up, that intersection is 0. Okay, so I'm not gonna offset it at all, because basically I just want it to go down to that point and just run, and it'll do the 45. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna delete this guy, because I'm basically replacing it with this T10. Okay, so type. We're gonna go from rough to engrave. So V-bits are special in the sense that because they are a V, when you go into the corner, they can travel up and at an angle and make a nice sharp corner in all the corners because they are a V-bit. So that is something that's unique to the V-bit. They can do that. And that's how you can get really crisp, like defined corners with a V-bit that you can't get with other bits. So we want to make sure that we're doing an engrave pass. Everything else is the same: clean left, start in the middle, fixed depth, all that should be the same. So in theory, this should work for me. So to recap, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so this T11, this is my 40 millimeter hogger. I have this set at a -5/8 offset. If we solo this, we can see that this is where it is offsetting. If I zero it out, it would be equally over that line. 1/4 inch deep. This is a pocket pass, fixed depth. If we look at our my T5 tools, which are just 1/8 inch end mills, this is what I've got in here. You can pause the video. So these are, okay, so this one looks like it's set at a rough pass, and this one's a cleanup. So it'll try to get into the corners and clean the corners up. So at any rate, this is where I'm going to start at. This is going to be my starting point. And from here, I'm just going to go out and run it. And then see, I'll do a physical observation of what it's looking like, and then we might have to come back in here and make some adjustments. But if I close out of here, one thing that ideally I would show you is a simulation pass. But I believe if I go look at my license, yeah, I still don't have X simulation under my license. I've been working on that. It's a weird quirk. I had to send in an old dongle key to get a new digital key, and somewhere along the way, my X simulation license didn't transfer over. So as of right now, I can't do a simulation showing you, but just so to kind of rehash on that simulation, what the simulation does is it does it in 3D, but it's taking this shape data and it allows you to do a 3D rendering. I mean, most of you probably know, like the 3D, you see stuff work in 3D, but you might not know where it's getting that shape data from. And that would be here. All right. So that being said, let's go ahead and create a new job. And we're going to call this bevel test. And if we go to room, I'm not going to do anything here other than my doors. So I'm going to use my MDF shaker profile, and we're going to go down here and we're going to find bevel 45 and my drawer, bevel 45, which that one we're just going to pick small shaker, and then we're going to do bevel 45, which it inherited it. So we should hit OK. And what I'm going to do, we're just going to go through the whole entire process of what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this right now, and then we're going to go out to the CNC and we're going to run it. Okay, so let's do this. We'll just take a base cabinet. I don't want to do everything. We're going to shrink this up. So I'm going to delete the doors. We only want the drawer front. Let's make this like a base 15 or something. Something like that. And we can kind of see that it's putting that, it's trying to do a graphical display that, so it knows kind of what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so from here, let me just save this as bevel test. And we're going to go ahead and come into screen to machine. Let this thing load up. Loading. I need like elevator music to start playing when I'm in the loading screen. My computer at home that's Intel-based processing loads pretty quick. This one, this machine's it's a Ryzen CPU, and it's just, I feel like maybe I'm just imagining things, but I feel like this computer struggles more than my other computers. But I got some pretty beefy computers, so I definitely know that the computer can handle it. But take a nap. Maybe that's what I do, just kick back in the chair. Come on, this is ridiculous. This is something ain't right here. Okay, so here we are in screen to machine. So what I do is I got to make sure that my primary machine is on Onsrud Nest, and that is it. So let's go ahead. You can either, you can use the part filter, but on this one there is only one door slab, and that's what it's under, door slab. So I'll just click that one. We'll optimize it here. Let's see what we got. I'm just going to drag it just, since it's small, just out to a little bit, because this is a test after all. All right, so let's go ahead and throw this code out. Okay, so we'll do bevel underscore DF for bevel underscore drawer front. Okay, come on. So I've got MillVision integrated in this machine as well for an optimizing chop saw. So it's trying to spit it out here. I should have turned it off over here, but our main output should be good to go. I know, stop. Okay, so if we go to reports, so basically what that error was is that this is all G code that I'm sending out here under this pattern sheet, but the MillVision takes a .b file, so that's like all the solid woods, and so I was trying to spit out a B file or something at the same time we're trying to generate G code, and I just haven't gone in there and sorted it out yet because I just integrated it in with this machine, so that's what that was all about. Okay, so if I minimize, and if we come up here to CV Nest, this is where I spit out all my G code. We've got that bevel drawer front. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy that. All right, and I've got my two routers right here. So we'll go to CNC2. And so this is the network folder. So this is actually inside my router now. So let's just throw that guy in there. And that is it. we're ready to go out. I'll grab that piece of paper that I printed. We'll go out to the machine and we're gonna go run a sample, and we'll see if we're close. So let's do that. When I tried to run that program using the new tool set that I made, I ran into a problem. The G code called for the first tool, no problem, but then it would ignore the rest of the tools in the set and immediately jump to the last tool or the final cut through tool. I tried everything. I tried rebuilding the tool set from scratch, didn't help. I deleted the tools from the library and I re-added them, and that didn't help either. I spent most of the day making tweaks and running parts over and over again, and eventually I exhausted all of my patience and all of my MDF scraps. I started to feel helpless. I began to contemplate my existence and why I even decided to get into cabinetry in the first place. But I knew that my client was counting on me, so I had to get this done. So after meditating for an entire day, I had an idea. I logged onto an old computer that I had lying around, and I downloaded an earlier version of Cabinet Vision, and I quickly added those tools back into the library there, and I rebuilt that set just as I had in version 2024.4. And this time when I sent out the programs, they ran perfectly. It called every tool in the G code. So it looks like there might be a bug inside of Cabinet Vision 24.4, so we'll see. So after attempt 457, I think I've got it pretty close now that I moved over to Cabinet Vision version 2023. So got my test lab here, so we're gonna run it and let's see how close we get. Okay, if we take a look at it now, it looks really, really close. But if you can kind of see here in these corners, my 1/8 inch bit's going a little too deep. Otherwise, it looks pretty good, and I might have to lower that V-bit just a hair. So I have a couple options. I can either lower my hogging down a little bit, or I could bring that tool number 5 up a little bit. But because I have to lower that V-bit, maybe I'm gonna lower that hogging bit just a little bit. And that way I can get the tool 11 and tool 5 on the same plane, and then I've got to drop tool 10 down to meet that plane. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna make those adjustments. I'm gonna lower my hogging just a little bit, maybe like a 64th, maybe even less, and then drop tool 10. So let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, so we got it looking pretty good as far as the profile in there, but I only went 1/4 inch deep, and I measured the original doors I'm trying to match, and it's actually got a distance of 3/8 on the angle. So now I've got to actually lower everything from 1/4 down to about 3/8, and so I'm going to do that, and yep, we'll be back out here again. Initially, I had this set at 1/4 inch deep for the whole tool set, and I don't think that's deep enough. After taking a closer look at the measurements of the original door, it looks about 5/16. So we're going to change the depth in all three of these tools from 1/4 inch to 5/16. And I think that is going to give me a lot closer of a result than that 1/4 inch depth. So it's that easy. So now that I've got that in, we are going to make another test program, send it out, and run it again. So let's jump out to the machine and see what that does for us. Okay, so I think I got it close. Here's mine. Obviously, this still needs to be sanded. I got some tool marks, but if we take a look, I think all I have to do here is I think I got to increase the width here a little bit to match the width here. I think I'm off maybe about a 1/8 inch or so, but I think we're good here. That's the same. That's the same. So I think we're off to a really good start. And so yeah, so I'm just gonna make the final little tool tweaks to get this more smooth on the inside, and then I think we'll be good to run a sample door. This is just a drawer front, so I wanted to keep it small for the speed of testing it out. But okay, so addressing the potential bug that is in Cabinet Vision 24.4 that I was experiencing after I got set up on version 2023 and ran all those doors for the job because I was on a time crunch. I did reach out to Cabinet Vision. I got a hold of a technician. They were able to remote into my computer, and they took a look at everything that I have in my tool database, and they did see that it was not calling for any tools in the set. In fact, it wasn't calling for tools in any of the sets on my computer. So there was definitely an issue there. We did fix it, and we were able to get it running. As for a cause, we still don't know what the cause was, but what he did was, the first thing, he reset my tool database. And then we went through each tool and each set, and we zeroed out all the information and put it all back in. We toggled basically every option on and off in all those tool sets, and eventually we were able to get it going. Even though there's no, actual cause that I can tell you, like from my end, the tech just said sometimes these things happen and it gets bound up. But at any rate, I am up and going. And now that I'm up and going, let's take a look at the final tool set numbers that I landed on. Before I show you all the numbers that I landed on in this tool set, I'm going to show you exactly the problem I was having in this version of Cabinet Vision. If I come here to edit shape, we can see that these are the 3 tools that the set is calling for. When I ran the program, we can see here in the G code that the only tools that it is ended up calling for is tool 11 and tool number 4. If we take a look, we've got a tool 11, we don't have a number 4, and we've got these 2 that it needs to call as well that's not showing up. Now, tool 4 is correct for my machine to call for that because it is the final cut through, and Cabinet Vision just assumes that it's going to be called. So between 11 and 4, I need to see tool 5 and I need to see tool number 10. So I literally spent hours trying to figure out how to get it to call those 2 tools. And ultimately, once Cabinet Vision Tech got on the phone, he went through, he cleared out all of these fields, and we re-put in the information. We did it for everything in the library, and somewhere along the way, it ended up working, and we were able to generate code that looked like this. And we can see up at the top that it is calling for tool 11, tool 5, tool 10, and then tool number 4. So this is the correct code that I needed to see. Now, as far as why, we have no idea. He said sometimes things like this happen and you just don't really know what's binding it up. But I did want to show you that. So if if some of you out there experience something like this, you know, it's just one of the problems that I ran into. And I have no idea if it's like, you know, if it's my machine or if it's a bug. Like, I really don't know. I'm not that smart when it comes to all this stuff. But at any rate, if we take a look at the final numbers that I ended up with on my Tool 11, this is what I ended up with. My Tool 5 for the 1/8 inch cleanup. And that's the radius that it's going to clean up in the corners. And then my Vortex bit. And its type is engraved, which is correct. We want to clean right because it's the right side of the bit. Start in the middle is fine. Doesn't really matter. You can start in the corner or start in the middle, and then we're doing a fixed depth. So this one should work out for me. I haven't ran anything out of Cabinet Vision 24.4 yet because I had to finish it in Cabinet Vision 2023 because I was in a bind. But this should get me going. This should work just fine, just like the other program. So, you know, it's just weird quirks just happen when you got a lot of machines, a lot of computer programs. Just weird stuff happens, and you just, I guess it's all part of it. It's annoying, but, you know, I don't know. I guess it is what it is. So I ran a sample door, I brought it back to my paint shop, and I had them paint it. So we're going to take a look at my painted sample door, and we're going to compare it to the door that the client brought me, and we're going to see how close they are. But before I do that, I just realized I forgot something. Okay. I got to switch hats for this one. I got to show support for the wonderful team over at Chefla who make all the painting magic happen back here. So right here we have the client's door, and then right here I have my door. And the color is obviously different because we are doing a different color on these, but I think overall the profile is so similar, in my opinion, that if I walked into a house and I saw, you know, these doors next to these doors, I don't think that I would be able to tell the difference. And that's kind of the point. So I think that this will work out really good in my situation. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. Hopefully some of you found something useful, something helpful, because my goal is to make interesting and helpful content, because I know how hard it can be to try to figure out this whole cabinet thing, man. It's a daily grind, and I know a lot of you guys are out there, you know, with me every day, just going at it. So I wish you all the best. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.